President Biden signed legislation Thursday night to temporarily avoid a government shutdown. The bill keeps the government funded through December 3rd. It also allocates money for the resettlement of Afghan refugees and provides aid following recent natural disasters. This all comes as Democrats continue to disagree over the scaled-back $1 trillion infrastructure bill. That vote was delayed by House Speaker Nancy Pelosi late Thursday night. For more, I want to bring in CBS News Chief Foreign Affairs correspondent and Face the Nation moderator, Margaret Brennan. Hi there, Margaret. So where does Congress currently stand on both the infrastructure bill and that spending bill?
Well, there are sort of four big things. One of them was just taken off the table, that government funding issue you mentioned. That's at least temporarily settled. The other three, the debt ceiling, Congress has until October 18th to figure out. In the near term, though, the pressure is really on to deliver President Biden the big spending package that he put at the centerpiece of his domestic agenda. That is why he went to Capitol Hill. That is why he is pushing progressives to peel back the $3.5 trillion levels that they had already compromised on. It's not clear which programs he wants them to shave off of it, but all of our reporting, and Speaker Pelosi has said publicly, is that that's just too big a number for Democrats to get on board with when you look at the moderate side of the aisle. They're just not comfortable with that level of spending. And so that's where things stand. It's figuring out what stays in, what goes out, how to bring down that number. For example, there was conversation that Joe Manchin, the moderate senator from West Virginia, had been talking about. Can you make some of these child care programs not universally available, but really more targeted towards those of a certain income level, thus bring down the price tag of it all. So something called means testing. So there are ways that they're looking to whittle this down. It's not clear yet how that will happen. When it comes to the roads and bridges and tunnels, that's the $1.2 trillion. There is bipartisan support. In other words, this isn't on that front a fight among Democrats. Republicans actually like that bill, but there were some progressives kind of holding that hostage, saying, I know everyone likes this, but you got to give me some of what I want. It's all about leverage when it comes to power in Washington.
Yeah. Margaret, you spoke with New Jersey Senator Cory Booker about comprehensive police reform. That's another piece of bipartisan legislation, but the negotiations for that bill, which he backed, recently failed. What did he have to say about the future prospects for police reform?
Well, Senator Booker was frank when I asked him, why did you walk away? Why did Democrats pull out of something that is so key to President Biden's agenda, police reform, and improving that relationship between the black community in this country and police departments? And he said he takes responsibility for the decision for pulling the plug, but that ultimately, he said, his Republican colleague, Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, who I spoke to last week, just wasn't willing to make some of the compromises that he was asking for. He went down very weedy territory you'll hear about on Sunday, but, you know, they had agreement on bans on chokeholds. They had agreement on pulling back funding for certain kinds of military equipment that was being made available to police forces. But when it came to certain grant programs and a national registry and reporting up to the federal government what was happening at the local level, that's where they got stuck. And so, you know, Senator Booker is hopeful that ultimately they can deliver on it. But despite all these calls and this public narrative about it being different this time, a historic moment of opportunity following the killing of George Floyd and the social justice movements that erupted from it, it failed. It failed under Republican president, and it failed under Democratic president. It's whether they can be revived again that is an open question.
A lot of people surprised that it failed, and frankly, a lot of people not surprised that it failed, Margaret. Meanwhile, California Governor Gavin Newsom announced Friday that kids older than 12 have to be vaccinated to attend schools in person there. What does this mean potentially for other states?
I thought it was a fascinating decision because, you know, under the structure of our country, it is states and governors who decide vaccine mandates. That's who decides that your kid has to get a measles, mumps, rubella shot before he comes to school. And so adding in COVID as a vaccination that is required may be something that other states follow suit with. So Governor Newsom might be leading the way on this, but as we know, it is hard to think of something more politically loaded these days than the response to COVID-19. And so he is going to face some pushback, but it is a test case for the rest of the country. We know in smaller districts, not states, New York City has rolled out a mandate for teachers. And so we will be tracking how all of this actually functions practically. But it is not, I think in this country, we are really at this moment where we have to learn to be able to take the politics and talk about the practical, and it's getting increasingly difficult to do that.
Yeah. Interesting, too, to see Governor Newsom doing that fresh off of that failed recall election, to take such a bold move, if you will, being the first governor to do so. Margaret, what else can we expect this Sunday on Face the Nation?
Well, you mentioned Governor Newsom. We will ask the governor we have as guest, Governor Jim Justice of West Virginia, a Republican, what he thinks of that, because his state was leading the country for a long time on vaccinations. Right out of the gate, they were fairly efficient in getting this into the older residents within their country. And then the governor hit a wall. And now West Virginia is down at the lowest level of vaccination. They're about 40% of their population vaccinated. And it seems to be that he's hitting a wall with young people. We want to talk to him about that, whether mandates like this, like Governor Newsom rolled out, are something that a Republican governor would also consider doing, or if this is just too politically toxic. Is COVID something that should be treated differently from every other vaccine that is available to you and to your child? We'll talk about it.
I remember him being previously on Face the Nation and talking about those successes in West Virginia. All right,
Always
Margaret,
colorful.
Thanks so much. Always colorful, indeed. You can count on that. Face the Nation streams every Sunday. It airs at 10:30 a.m. Eastern on CBS and later at 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. right here on CBSN.